Friday, FT fam, Braun, Frazier, Pierzynski. Todd, Father, why don't you bring us in today on Frazier Friday?
Hey, first off, good to see everybody again. It seems like the days go by like that, and then I'm back on the show with you guys. So I got a question before we start the show. So here's an instance of what happened last night. So I'm not going to tell you who. I'll tell you who afterwards. Runner on second base, Little League game, 10, 11, 12-year-olds, right? First place implications on the line. All right, so hear me out. First place implications on the line. They have a runner on second, 2 outs. It's raining. It's misty. My guy's been wild. Their best player. So now you know it's me, actually, because I was the coach on the team. So their best player gets up. I put up the 4 sign. AJ, I went like this in a Little League game. Listen, but hear me out. Put up the 4. He walks the first. Wild pitch, second and third. Kid swings at the next pitch. Ground out. We get the out. Kids are going crazy. Same instance comes around. Now it's bottom 5. We only play 6 innings. They walk our best hitter, and we're both laughing at each other. But next pitch, they throw a wild pitch. We score the run. We end up winning. Now, is that a little bush league on my part to walk a kid in Little League Baseball, AJ? What do you think?
I mean, you won, so, but yeah, that's kind of bush, but you won, so.
Hey, first place implications on the line, dude.
It's Little League.
I know. Wait, we take it serious up here, brother.
Yeah, and when can you start doing it? In intentional walking the best player on a team. We know you can do it in high school ball, but when is it okay? What's the age?
I don't know,
but AJ, in your mind?
I don't know. It seems, let the kid hit. It doesn't, no one's going to remember who won the 11U championship 5 years from now. I don't know.
Right, but when is it okay? Like, give me the number age.
I mean, I think high school, if you're going to get a ring or, okay, maybe if you're in the All-Stars and you get to like the regionals or whatever it's called, I don't even know. But other than that, I mean, it seems kind of bushy to me. But I mean, hey, we all do different things. We walked a kid one time when my son was like 14, and I'm like, that wasn't Barry Bonds hitting. I mean, and the coach was like, but he's pretty good. I'm like, I don't care, dude. Let the kid hit. He'll probably strike out if you just, tell him what's coming, because they're only like 13, 14 years old. But hey, each his own. Good job, Todd. You won the game. That's all that matters.
Yeah, no, I really, when I got home, I was like, what the heck was it? Honestly, I sat there. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I honestly should have let him hit, but it worked out. He got me back. He walked our guy, but we were just lucky enough to get a pass ball in that time. But yeah, I was just curious.
Did that not happen to you, Little League Todd?
Oh, it happened all the time. It was unbelievable, man. It was terrible. But maybe my coach instincts thinking that the game's more important than letting a kid be humbled on the mound and learning how to lose too as well. But we've lost a lot of games, so it was one of those things where it is what it is. We move on. But I thought that would be a funny little thing just to see what people would say and what you guys had to say on that part too. That's all.
I'm okay with it. I know if I was playing just competition-wise, because I don't have the dad mode, but if I was playing, I feel like that did happen in Little League sometimes, but I also played Jersey Little League, so it's a little bit different. But we can run a poll at some point and see if it's okay. Little League and intentional walks. So,
yes, that would be a good one.
Yeah, we can do that. We got some social people that can help us out. Let's charge the damn mound. Let's get to the rolling Houston Astros. They sweep the Oakland A's.
Charging the mound.
Here they come. They've won 7 of 10. Obviously, they're not back to level yet, but they're getting close. They're 5 games back of Seattle. They've won 5 games in a row. Christian Javier was strong yesterday against Oakland. It was not a close game. 6 scoreless. Joey Loperfido got his first big league homer. Here's your test. 3-game series coming up this weekend against Milwaukee. Good sign, though, to see Javier back because, AJ, we've seen many variations of Christian Javier over the last few years. This is the kind that they need.
This is the guy they wanted. This is the guy they counted on. This is the guy 2 years ago. Remember when everyone thought they were dead against Philly in the World Series, and he went out and started a no-hitter. So this is the guy that unless his stuff was a little bit down, they talked about it. But if they get this Christian Javier with a healthy Verlander, a healthy Fromber, the Astros are going to get back in this race. Now, about a week ago, we said, hey, when do they need to get going? And we all said now. Well, they played the Oakland A's, who they've absolutely owned the last few years, and they swept them a 4-game series. But now they got the Brewers coming in, so it's going to be a little different challenge. But they're hot. They're feeling good. They're at home where they've actually done well this year after last year's debacle. So I don't know. We'll see if they can keep it rolling. But once they get to 500, watch out AL West if they get back there, because you had a chance to put this team away. You didn't. Watch out.
Yeah, and Espada, he kind of called the team out. I remember a couple of days ago we talked about that. I said, watch out. They're going to get hot. And I don't mind a manager calling his team like, we got to win these games. And guess what? You have, and when, even though it's what? May, almost it's going into June. I guess what? It's early. I don't care if it's early. You have to win the games you're supposed to win, especially if you have this kind of record. You have to get after it a little bit. And good for him. Call him out. Let's go. And I'm sure he wasn't like, yo, dude, we don't win this game. You guys are trash. No. Let's go. Pick it up a little bit. And Alex Bregman taking off all of a sudden. So just a matter of time.
The other thing I was thinking about with Houston, and I never was super concerned. I mean, it sucks to dig a hole early on, but I like the roster. And also when you look at the team and you say, is this a World Series contender? The answer is still yes. It's not like they lost half their team to season-ending injuries. They had a slow start. They had pitching coming back. They might not be as deep as they have been in the past. That makes sense. They've been dinged quite a few draft picks for the cheating scandal too. And they've just been good every year. So it's tough to maintain that. The thing that stands out to me, AJ, is the AL West isn't great. The AL West is good. The Rangers are waiting for a bunch of players to come back. They've been off to a meh start. They're fine. The Mariners don't have the bats. We've talked about that ad nauseum. The Angels are terrible, and the A's are eventually going to fade. That puts the Astros in a position to be able to have a really crappy start like this and still be okay.
Yep.
No, you're right. That's what I said. They didn't put them away when they had the chance, and the Angels have gone off the deep end as far as sucking again, right? I mean, I have them on Saturday in Arlington against the Rangers. It's going to be interesting when I get to go talk to Wash what he says, because remember, he was all positive we can turn this around. And what are they, 16-28? So hasn't been exactly great with Wash and the Angels, and I love Wash. And then you look at the A's. I mean, they were that's why they were my biggest surprise, because I think this is more of what we expected from Oakland. They got off to a great start. The Mariners and the Rangers haven't put any distance between them. That's the problem. They haven't put any distance between them two and the rest of the division. Now, Rangers health-wise, Mariners just not hitting enough. Their pitching's great, but they haven't hit enough. So that's the biggest issue. Like you said, Scotty, the AL West hasn't put this team away. They've had an opportunity, and the Astros are like, we're 5 games out, boys. We've only played 45, 50 games. We got 100 games to make up 5. We think we'll be okay, especially what happened last year.
Yep. I think they'll be okay. And they got the Brewers this weekend, like I mentioned. That'll be a good test for them. All right, let's move to the Rays and Red Sox rivalry. Rays take 3 out of 4 against Boston. Luke in the chat, good stat. He said the Rays are 44-21 against Boston since 2020. He said that, my friends, is ownage. Yeah, and there they go again. And these were close games in this series. Yesterday was kind of a weird one. I guess the Rays coaching staff forgot about the whole mound visit timeout situation. You can't just visit whenever you want these days. You get capped, and they forgot to keep track. But Erasmo Ramirez was like, haven't saved a game in quite a bit. I'll come in and get the job done. I actually think, from that game yesterday, and that's the part that stands out, the Red Sox picking up on it and arguing it with the umpires gave Erasmo Ramirez more time to warm up. Not that he necessarily wouldn't have performed, but Toddfather, I think he ended up getting like an extra 6 to 8 minutes at least, because the umps didn't pick up on it originally. So then they had to call New York and be like, hey, did we mess up the timeout situation? And they were like, yes, you did.
Yeah, that's that's as a manager, you got to understand the rules. It happens. I remember Don Mattingly is the one example I remember. He went on the mound in LA, stepped off the mound, and then went to say something again, and his foot touched the dirt or whatever it was, or maybe he got his whole body on the dirt. So that actually makes 2 mound visits, and boom, whoever was pitching had to come out. But they just got to understand the rules. It didn't hurt them in the long run. They won the game. But if they were to lose the game, and we've seen stuff like this happen, that thing would have been blown up out of proportion. So, yeah, silly mistake, but, managers are human too.
But why? What's the penalty? I don't know, because if you read the rule, it says if there's no one warming up, the manager just gets ejected. So what's really the penalty to this?
I don't know.
For the timeouts?
Yeah.
Well, I thought you have to make a change, so then you have to bring in the.
I mean, I'm reading it in circumstances where the team is forced to make an unintended pitching change by operation of the mound visit rule, and there is no relief pitcher warming up in the bullpen. A manager or coach who violated the rule is ejected. All right, great. Pitcher gets to stay out there. Oops, sorry. I'll pay my $500 and get my extra mound visit. I mean, that's what's crazy to me is like, now if there's someone warming up, the pitcher has to come out. But I don't think did the Rays have anybody warming up? Was Erasmo Ramirez? I thought he was already in the game, wasn't he at that time, or no?
No, they had to take Adam out and put Erasmo Ramirez in.
Oh, but was he warming up or no? Because it says according to the rule, you don't have to. That's why I'm confused.
See, I didn't know that. I thought you have to take the pitcher out.
That's not what it says in the rule book. So unless the rule book's wrong, I don't know. It says just the manager gets ejected if there's no one warming up.
I didn't know. I thought you have to make the change. I thought that was the whole point of yesterday's game. It's like, okay, well, Adam has to come out now, and we got to bring in the dude who's not our high leverage guy, and he still got the job done. So they didn't even know the rule that.
But here's the problem I have with this rule. Here's the problem I have with this rule. So we're going to risk a guy getting injured, right, because of a mistake. So the guy doesn't get to warm up fully, but we're going to rush him and be like, oh, you only have 30 seconds or 2 minutes to get warmed up. And then let's say the guy goes out and gets hurt. Like, to me, that seems like a stupid rule. But again,
yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. Trying to keep everybody healthy. I mean, what are you supposed to? Yeah, like let him get warmed up. It's one of those things where an injury happens to a pitcher and somebody's got to come in and pitch. Let him stretch, do whatever he has to do. Time limit on that is throw that out the window. Let him get loose at least.
I think you have to change pitchers. I'm pretty sure that's the whole deal.
That's what I thought too.
I mean, I'm reading it right on the internet. Baseball Rules Academy. I don't know. I mean, in circumstances in which a team is forced to make an unintended pitching change by operation of the mound visit rule, and there is no relief pitcher warming up, the manager or coach who violated the rule by exceeding the team's allotted number of mound visits shall be subject to ejection. I don't know how much. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, ejection, and then you have to switch the pitcher.
It doesn't say it stops at ejected. I don't know. But again, it seems stupid to me that, because I can see the Red Sox and I can see any manager being like, well, no, he doesn't get to warm up. He only gets his 8 pitches and he has the minute and a half and, he's got to get out there, which seems against a lot of the things we're talking about is trying to keep guys healthy. But I don't know. Again, I don't know. I don't know for sure, but it's crazy to me.
Just lucky they won the game. Mm-hmm. So we don't really have to dive too much deep into it, but yes.
You feeling any differently about the Rays or not yet?
They own the Red Sox. I know that. What I see, they're 14-3 in Fenway the last 2 years or something crazy. And then we already talked about their total record, but the Rays have crushed the Red Sox the last few years. They kind of do it. They did it to the Yankees too, and now they do it to the Red Sox. I mean, they're just kind of owning the division.
AL East, baby. You don't know what's going to happen over there. The Red Sox got hot, and now they're fizzling. It just, you never know what's going to happen. Yankees are cruising right now, but we don't know. It's gonna be a fun division to watch.
Yeah, I still think the Rays are in it because I just think there's more pitching coming, and they just always seem to figure that out. And some of the bats who started slow are starting to heat up a little bit. I think Arozarena is going to pick it up, so we'll see. Lastly, before we get to Ken, and really he should lead things off, but we want to talk to Ken about him as well. You guys see Elly De La Cruz yesterday? He beat the Dodgers by himself. He had 4 hits. He reached every time. He stole 4 bags. They finally got him in whatever inning that was. It was over by then, 7th or 8th inning. Barnes got him at second. But most of the time when he was going, it was like first or second pitch. He was there. He's at 30 bags. He's on pace for 110. I think the number was Vince Coleman 110 in 1985 or something like that. Like, these are crazy numbers. There was a time period not long ago where people would say, oh, we'll never have anybody steal 100 bags again. If he stays healthy and on the field, he's stealing 100 bases. It'd be nice if the Reds gave him a little bit of help, but he's the hottest thing in Cincinnati since the Todd Father home run derby.
No, listen. And he's getting on base. And I think that's the biggest part. Last year, he was striking out. I mean, he still strikes out, but he was striking out at a crazy pace. He got hot in the beginning. He was the next thing sliced bread, and he's just being himself now. We're not blowing him up. We're not saying, oh, here he comes, Elly De La Cruz show, this and that. I think he's just playing within himself. He's enjoying the process. He's out in L.A. right now showing everybody. That's what L.A. is talking about. Not talking about the Dodgers. He's talking about Elly in L.A. I like that. Elly in L.A. So at the end of the day, he is doing what he does best. Put the ball in play. Let your legs do the work. Make the plays. You got a cannon of an arm. Steal some bases and make some magic happen. And when he gets on the base path, good things are going to happen for the Reds.
Listen, I mean, Glasnow pitched last night. If you get on off him, you can steal. You see it right there. Jump. Will Smith's like, I don't even need to bother. I mean, he's not fast to the plate because Glasnow's like, sorry, goes Barnes. But Glasnow's like, I don't care. I'm going to strike you out anyways. Like a lot of the pitchers that have been slow to the plate. But yeah, if he gets on, it's excitement. I mean, he's exciting right now, and it's fun to watch. And the Reds haven't been playing very well, but at least they have Elly to fall back on. And some of his answers last night, like why he loves LA, is because he plays Grand Theft Auto, which is absolutely hilarious. He ranks right up there with Imanaga saying he loves New York because he saw it in Spider-Man. I mean, these kids these days are awesome, and I love that their quotes are being honest. So it's great.
Let's run that because there's already talk in LA that he wants to be a Dodger. They're like, oh, of course, he's a superstar and he likes us. He wants to be a Dodger. So here's Elly about how he feels at home in Los Angeles.
What is it about this place that you play really well and up your game?
Oh, that's because this is my city. You already know. This is my city, though.
Why do you feel that this is your city?
I mean, my first time in U.S. was here in L.A. And also, I play a lot of GTA when I was a little kid, and I like the city. And that's what I say. That's my city. When I was a little kid, I used to say I was born in L.A. Yeah, this is my city, though.
That actually felt really genuine. Like he really enjoys Hollywood.
If I'm an LA fan right now, I'm like, ooh, well, if it is your city, let's talk numbers, baby. Let's go. And he is.
Can't yet, but why isn't he signed? Why don't you think we've seen any reports of an extension opportunity for someone like him? Do you think that the Reds feel like they were somewhat burned by the Votto contract and that held them back for a while? Do you think that they're worried about his long-term health because when you steal that many bags, you're more prone to get hurt? Why would there be a holdup? Like for me, if you didn't want to do it last year, okay. I mean, that was your chance. But even this year, I still think if you throw $100-something million at him and you give him the chance to get to free agency again when he's 30-ish years old, like you have a chance to sign the guy and make sure that he's on that. Not the Jackson Churio deal. You can't do that anymore. It's going to cost more than that. But I still think there's a certain number that you're going to throw at him that he's going to have a hard time turning down because he's only, less than a season still, or just about at that mark into his big league career.
I honestly think owners, or at least most of them now, are like, you know what, we got to pump the brakes on all this kind of stuff. I mean, you've seen the free agency in the offseason. They're not signing people. They're waiting forever, and they're trying to get people for cheap. Why would they offer him a deal right now when they got him locked up for a lot more years? So it's a real simple answer. They don't have to. So and I think that's the tough part of it. I think he deserves a deal for sure. But they're like, you know what? It's a new age. We don't have to do what we don't have to do. So yeah, I think he would love it too, but I would love to see him be a Cincinnati Red for life or for the next 8 to 10 years or whatever it is and move on. But that's just not what most of these guys do anymore.
AJ, would you throw 150 at him right now over, whatever the Churio deal was? You have to go higher than that, right? He didn't even get to the big leagues yet. But I'm sure there's a try.
I definitely try. There's got to be somebody you can figure out a way. Because again, as small market teams, and Cincinnati's a smaller-ish market team, they have to lock some of these guys up. And if Elly's going to be the cornerstone of your franchise for the next 5 to 7, 10 years, try to lock him up now. And I know he had some warts come up last year in the second half, but he's still really exciting. So backload it or figure out a way to do it and make it worth his while and your organization's while. But I feel like they need to do something, because if they don't, they're going to lose him again. They're going to have to trade him, and that sucks for the fans. But I mean, I think I agree with what Todd said, but some of these contracts, they don't really handcuff an organization. Who was it? The Reds signed Senzel. Was it Senzel they signed before he even got to the big leagues, or right when he got there and he didn't work out? I think it was him. But I mean, you could sign Encarnacion. You would probably have liked to sign a McLean before he got hurt, but there are guys you can sign and say, all right, for the next 10 years, we got a pretty good idea this guy's going to be a decent player for us.
Scott, I'm sure you guys talked about this yesterday, or maybe you didn't. I'm sorry I didn't see the show, but about Juan Soto as well. So, I mean, I think, Jack Curry, what a great interview he had with him yesterday about signing Soto a long-term deal. Both of them said they're willing to talk about it, but, how far will that go? And just like the Reds too as well. Oh, I'm sure they'll talk about it, but how far will they go? So that's a tough part. Oh, no, we want them to worry about the season, and we don't want to mess with anybody's heads. But, you put a figure out there for somebody. I mean, money does talk.
Yeah.
But Soto shouldn't affect – Soto shouldn't affect Elly, because they're different players, right?
No, I wasn't trying.
Elly's got like a year left, and Soto's a free agent at the end of the year. So, and I don't think Elly doesn't have Boris. I know Soto has Boris, obviously, so that's a completely different animal. But Elly's not even at a year service. No, I understand, but it's like one. I'm not getting on you, Todd. I'm just saying one shouldn't affect the other. I know people are like, but it shouldn't. Like, Elly should look at the guys who have less than a year and say, all right, I'm going to set that record for a player and get whatever 8 years, 150. I don't know what the number is. I'm just throwing random numbers out there, right? But Soto's a different animal. Soto has been through his time, now he's a free agent, been traded twice already. Think about that for a guy that is as young as he is, and now he's got an opportunity to set records, according to Ken Rosenthal. So we'll see. But I think the Reds should try. I think the Orioles should have tried to lock some of their dudes up. Maybe they will with the new ownership. I think there's opportunities for these teams to get deals, a la what the Braves did with Albies, Acuna, Riley. Some of these guys, they locked them up to good deals, and now everyone's looking at them. Strider, they're like, man, this is a good deal for the Braves. Teams should be more willing to do that, especially if they know a guy, they brought a guy up, and they trust his makeup, which the Reds should know this guy. They've had him for a while.
He draws you to the park too, Todd Father. Even if the Reds go through some down years again, if you've got him locked in for 8 to 10 years of team control, right? Even if it's one of those years when the Reds aren't good, if he's on the field and you're in Cincinnati, you're like, hey, want to go see Elly? He's one of those few guys that fits that category because he does everything. He's super unique to watch. I think there's got to be a way for Cincinnati to say, this is the guy that we're circling. I'm trying to look at comps right now. So Elly is about 140 games into his big league career. There's a player who was 240 games into his big league career who signed a 12-year, $210 million contract. Now, there's player and club options that could get it all the way up to 17,470, but it's based on MVP finishes, all kinds of crap. But anyway, that's Julio Rodriguez. So if the guarantee number is 12,210 for an extra 100 games there, if I'm Elly, I'm going for money like that, or I'm asking for money like that. But I do think that there's a number that's a little bit lower than that. If you went up to him now and said, hey, how about 10, 180, something like that, right? And also people have to keep in mind that he's still on a league minimum contract for a couple of years. Then it's ARB, all that, right? So you can't compare him to what veterans are making on the free agent market. You look at similar scenarios and comps. I think there's a deal to be had. I don't know what's inside Elly's head, but if I'm Cincinnati, that's not going to burn the franchise if you make an offer like that and you've got a guy like that now for 8 to 10 years.
And Elly is a Boris guy too as well, so that makes it interesting.
Oh, lovely.
Boris guys don't usually sign extensions either, just FYI. They usually do not. They usually go year to year and get the free agency.
Maybe they should change it, especially after last offseason. We'll see.
Well, can you also make a case for someone like him that he could be more susceptible to injuries, especially later on in his career? Because he is he's got power, but he's a legs guy. Like legs guys, it's been proven for a long time, they tend to decline a little bit quicker once they get deeper into their 30s. Now, Elly's young as hell. You're not going to have to worry about that for a while. But AJ, you always say, like, go get your first richness or whatever you want to call it. This would cover that. And you could still put him in a position that if his body lasts and everything's great and he's 30 years old, 9 years from now or something like that, he can hit the market again, which is what Acuna is going to do. I mean, Acuna signed to a super team-friendly deal. I know he regrets it, 8 years, 100, but he's still going to reach free agency, I think, in the 30 range. So you still have a chance to double down again, and you got rich.
Agreed. I always say get your first one, but I'm just going off history. And Boris, typically in his historical context of what he does with contracts, he just doesn't let guys sign extensions. Now, players have to understand Boris works for him, and Boris makes it seem like they work for Boris sometimes with the way he handles things. And he's gotten a lot of good contracts. He's also gotten burned before, like this offseason. So if the Reds go to him and say, go to Elly or Scott Boras and say, hey, here's 10 years, 180, or here's 9, 180, and you're 22 years old, it's hard to look at back at your agent and say, I don't know. I mean, but Soto did it. Soto turned down 400, right? So, I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting dilemma, but if I'm the Reds, I at least try. And then they at least like Washington say, hey, we tried. We threw everything at him. He didn't want it. Boom, right? That's what teams do. They say, well, it's not us. We tried. And he walked out the door because he wanted more. So then they trade him and try to get a bunch of prospects like the Nationals did. But it sucks for the fans because this guy should be a Red. You know, if he continues to play like this, he should be a Red lifer. He should be Joey Votto. He should be someone like that where you're like, all right, Elly De La Cruz is a Red.
Mm-hmm. Hey, let me flip it to other side of this game. Yeah, Glasnow didn't have it, you know, for his standards. I mean, he still picked up plenty of punch outs, but he was leaving some pitches up. He wasn't putting some hitters away. Stevenson and Elly got to him. And yes, like AJ mentioned, you could run off him pretty easily, especially when you're the fastest player in the league, stolen base wise. Here's my problem, Top Father. The bottom half of the Dodgers lineup, it's going to be a problem because it's a problem already. And when you get to the playoffs, you're facing better pitching. If Mookie and or Freddie get cold like they did last postseason, I mean, yes, you've got one or two more now. You've got Ohtani, but even Teoscar Hernandez, he can get very cold. He's got a hole or two in his swing. This team's beatable. You know, it's actually already making me rethink my power rankings from the other day because there's pitching talent. There's definitely a ton of superstar talent, but there's an entire second half chunk of the lineup that can be game planned and can be taken down. And then, you know, you get through those three, you go, all right, we got a few innings till we have to deal with this crap again.
Yeah, and I think not only that, but also the bullpen too as well. So it's not the prettiest of things. You know, when they get hot though, it's really fun to watch. I think the way they're playing, I think they'll be just fine. I don't think you have to change your power rankings just yet. They still have a bunch of guys injured, starting pitchers wise. But, you know, think about it. Diamondbacks aren't playing well. You know, who else in the West is going to get after them? Giants aren't playing well. Padres are coming along a little bit. They just picked up Luis Ariz. So who's gonna top them in the division, though, Scott?
Nobody. They're going to run away with the division by double-digit games. But when we get to the playoffs, the Phillies lineup is deeper.
Hopefully everybody comes back. They got some healthier guys too as well.
But remember AJ, they signed Teoscar Hernandez and people were like, really? You even are adding Teoscar Hernandez? And it's like, yeah, they kind of needed him. The Braves and Phillies lineups are deeper. He is.
By the way,
they need him
too. So, I mean, they needed him. Yeah, he's been huge. The problem is Lux hasn't gotten going. I mean, he missed a year, right? So you got to give him a little bit of credit. And one team that can manage to do that is Lux. Altman's not been good. Chris Taylor has not been good. I mean, Chris Taylor's hitting 083 right now. Lux 196, Altman 147. Kike is, you know, not doing great, but Teoscar has almost got an 800 OPS, 780. You know, they got ways to cover it. Okay, I mean, the problem is they need Chris Taylor to go at some point. They need Altman to figure it out again, and they need Gavin Lux. They have time, though. That's the thing about the Dodgers. They have enough time. They have enough talent where eventually Gavin Lux is too good of a hitter not to hit. Now, Altman, I don't know, because he kind of got off to a hard start last year at the beginning and kind of fell off a little bit towards the second half. So I think they're going to be fine. But, yeah, of course. But the one thing about the Dodgers, they'll go get somebody if they need to go get somebody. I mean, they'll figure out, all right, who's the best hitter available? All right, let's go get him. We'll throw our, you know, whoever. But I think also we didn't even talk about, Emmett Sheehan that went down with Tommy John yesterday? I mean, that's a big loss because that's more depth for the Dodgers rotation because they already got some guys, Kershaw, Paxton, you know, even Glasnow that haven't done it. You can throw Yamamoto in there. They haven't done it for a whole year. So will they have enough depth to get through it this year?
That's a good call. Yeah, elbow surgery. They didn't officially say if it's TJ because now you're seeing some of the internal brace. But anyway, yeah, elbow surgery. He's done for the year, Sheehan. And, he showed some bright spots last year. They were excited to have him potentially break out this year in the rotation. Gavin Stone's been great to fill that void. But still, I mean, we're only in
Miller's already down, right? Miller's already down.
Mm-hmm. Miller's down. So let's dive into these two teams a little bit more right now. FT Senior Insider Ken Rosenthal coming through. New animation. It's the Inside Scoop with Ken. Ken, good to see you. And let's start with Elly. Let's swing back to him because you just wrote about him. So we already are projecting his future, but really for your purposes, I'm curious why the Reds wouldn't look to really get after it with an extension with someone like him as soon as possible.
I imagine they will, but keep in mind the Reds are a team that has spent some money at times, but doesn't always do that. And with an extension, it always takes both parties to be agreeable. And I'm not sure where De La Cruz sees himself, where his agent sees him at this point in his career, but I would expect those conversations, if they haven't taken place already, are going to take place. It's the middle of a season. Generally speaking, extension talks fade after April. But clearly, this is a guy you want around as long as possible. And let's face it, they've got him for 4 more years at least. So it's not like it's urgent. But yes, at some point, I'm sure this conversation will take place if it hasn't already.
I want to move over to the Orioles. You wrote a little bit about them too as well. Looking for outfield depth. Their outfielders haven't really hit well right now. A couple guys are in slumps. Is there any guys in mind that you could think of that, could help them out in the long run?
Well, there are obviously players who could help him, Todd, and Luis Robert Jr., if he's healthy, would be the foremost among them. But I don't know that they're going to be willing to pay the price that the White Sox will want for Robert Jr. His surplus value, that is the amount by which he'll exceed the contract's worth, isn't what it used to be because of injuries. It's a rising salary and all of that. And surplus value with a prospect is extremely high because you don't have any service time yet and the player has yet to get paid a lot of money. So I don't see it being that kind of guy. The way it was described to me was that they could pursue a veteran type, maybe a Kevin Pillar, Tommy Pham type, just to give them more of a right-handed presence, which is something right now that they're struggling a little bit with. Against left-handed pitching, they haven't been as good from their outfield. Cedric Mullins has struggled. Colton Cowser has struggled, and ultimately they might need to address that. Or maybe Cowser comes on, maybe Kjerstad comes back. Who knows? We got a long way to go, but certainly that is something that they may need to look at. Because keep in mind as well, Mullins and Austin Hayes, free agents after next year, not this year, after 25, not 24. But the clock is ticking on both.
Hey, Ken, I know the Mets have been a hot topic with their play and some of the moves they made over the last couple of years. Stevie Cohen, one of the favorite owners of everybody who's out there, he tweets, he comes to the games, he shows up, he spends money. Did he make a mistake by sending out his tweet the other day about, we're going to sell? And then he's like, oh, wait, I'm just kidding. I was hacked. I deleted it.
He didn't say he was hacked. He told Andy Martino that was
I'm kidding,
supposed to be.
That's usually what happens.
Well, he said that was supposed to be a DM. Now, here is a guy who is a multi-billionaire, okay? And listen, we all struggle with technology from time to time. This is someone who's not sending out DMs properly and who's putting them on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. I sort of have a hard time believing that. I don't know the context of what that conversation was, the context of even the tweet. If he was trying to send it to somebody else, maybe the question was entirely different. Maybe the question was, do you want to be a buyer? But that was a very interesting turn of events, him deleting that tweet. And let's face it, the Mets, the way they're going, they're not trending toward big buyer. They're kind of a middling team that has problems with its rotation, walking everybody, can't throw out base stealers. It's not a playoff type team, at least right now. They think they are, but we're not seeing it from the performance standpoint. So, AJ, this is the kind of thing with 2.5 months to go before the deadline. It's going to have to play out more, but it's going to be really interesting to see which direction they turn, particularly with Pete Alonso, who we've talked about a lot, and who, if they're out of it at the trade deadline, they may decide, you know what, we're not signing this guy. Let's at least explore his value And I can see that happening if indeed they don't start playing better.
Ooh, can you imagine Mets fans if they get rid of Pete Alonso? Oh, man. There might be a riot in the streets for that one, but that's a different topic. But I want to talk about sellers. I mean, Stevie Cohen's like, we got to wait till the trade deadline. I get it, All-Star break, whatever it is, whatever he was trying to say with that tweet. But I'm looking through the league, and I'm like, we've already talked about the Blue Jays potentially. The Red Sox, would they sell some of their starting pitching? Would the A's sell Mason Miller? Would the Angels sell? I don't know. They have a whole lot to sell. Maybe a couple of their starters they could maybe make some moves on. But you look around the league, there's not a lot of sellers. The Cardinals, maybe some of their starters, but in all honesty, it's not a lot of sellers because of the wild cards and because some teams are like, oh, we're in it. They might be delusional, but this is kind of what happened last year, right? Too many teams like, we still got a chance. So how many sellers do you actually think would be out there?
AJ, you nailed it. And the expanded playoffs have changed the entire dynamic of the deadline. And there will not be as many sellers, perhaps, as there used to be. It's a little early still to identify which teams we might be talking about. The Marlins for sure. Yes, the A's I would expect as well. Though it might not be Mason Miller, it might be others. Who knows what they'll do. The Rockies are playing a little bit better. They might deceive themselves into thinking we've got some momentum now and maybe we should keep going. I can see all of this happening. I can see teams like the Cardinals, the Blue Jays. We were talking about the Astros a few weeks ago, and now they're suddenly playing better. So if a team stands a chance at the deadline, if it perceives itself as some kind of club that can play better in the final 2 months, particularly if they enhance themselves, they're not necessarily going to sell. And if you look at the example of the Diamondbacks last year, had a horrible August, looked like they were out of it. And yet they came back, won 84 games, and then got hot in the playoffs. That is the enticement that is out there now with the 3 wild cards, with the expanded playoffs. Teams are not going to be willing to concede as easily.
Ken, a follow-up on the timing of trades. I think we talked about this one of the last few chats that we had. I believe more trades should happen earlier because it's a few games that are going to separate some wild card teams. This is the Diamondback story from last year, right? This is a team that's in the 500-ish range in mid-August, and a few games can make the difference between you making the playoffs at all or being a World Series team. We could make this case for a team like Seattle. So the reason I'm bringing this up is the Marlins actually did this, right? They did this now, 2 weeks ago. They got rid of one of their best trade assets. The backlash is always going to be bad for Miami fans right now because of what they've been through. But do you think that owners paid attention to the backlash that the Marlins received and said, I get it. We might get our best deal on June 1st, but it doesn't look good. It's going to crush us selling tickets. So I don't care. We're still waiting until we get to the end of July. And I think the Rockies are a perfect example. They're not making the playoffs. But they might say, hey, we're having fun. Some people are excited about it. So we'll sell a piece or two, but we're not going to do it for a couple months.
Scott, I see your point. And certainly if you're a team like the Marlins, why not? If you can get a better return on May 1st as opposed to July 31st, do it. You know where you are. You're being realistic about your position. At the same time, this sport, like most things in life, operates with urgency only when there is a deadline. And we see this not just with the trade deadline. We see it with the arbitration signings that take place in January. We see it in every aspect of the game where transactions are enforced by a deadline. So that is why things generally develop later. The other aspect is what AJ was just bringing up as far as teams thinking they're in it, perhaps deceiving themselves. So while it's always a great idea in our heads to think, man, this team should act right now, get a better return, start selling off its parts. In reality, that rarely happens, and it happened in an unusual case this year with Arise. But I don't see a trend in that direction. If anything, given the way things are now, teams will be more inclined to wait.
Ken, you've got Padres Braves this weekend, right?
I do.
Okay, Padres Braves on Fox. Can you give us a little preview of what you've seen from these teams so far and what kind of notes you might unload, especially because you'll be able to talk since AJ's not on the call with you?
Exactly. The first thing that is going to be of interest in our game on Saturday is Yu Darvish. And I was not aware of this until someone made me aware of it earlier this week. But he is going for 200 wins combined between NPB, the Japanese League, Nippon Professional Baseball, and Major League Baseball. And you might think, who cares? But that's actually a big deal in Japan, certainly. I would imagine it's a big deal to Darvish. Only Hideo Nomo and I can't think of the other pitcher.
Kuroda.
Well, anyway, Kuroda. Yes, Kuroda. They're the only ones.
I'll do it, Ken. I got it.
Thank you, AJ. They're the only ones with above 200, and it's only a few more than Darvish is at now. So to me, that's one of the principal storylines of this as he goes for 200. And then in a more general sense, as you pull back, the Braves offensively have not been quite what we thought they were. Now, granted, coming off a historic season, offensively, they were never going to be that good again, most likely, but it's been a little bit of a slow going for them. And the Padres were a confusing team. 2 out of 3 from LA last week, the Dodgers, and then they get swept by the Rockies. Their big three, Machado, Tatis, Bogarts, have not clicked yet individually. And that's a problem. They've got some other good things happening, and certainly with Dylan Cease and Darvish and Musgrove, once he comes back, their rotation could be formidable. Michael King, of course, being part of that. But they seem to be the kind of team that's going to be kind of hanging around, not eliminated by any stretch. And who knows, Preller may make another move to reinforce them. But they're a little bit of a curiosity right now. The Braves, I expect, are going to be right there. Bryce Elder is pitching in our game on Saturday. Remember, he didn't make the rotation out of spring training, even though he was an all-star last year. And now he's trying to prove, hey, I belong here. And that alone will make it interesting to see that matchup, Elder versus Darvish.
You talk about Yu Darvish. I mean, the guy's I feel like he's been a dinosaur. He's been doing it for so long. He's coming up on a big milestone. Talk about what he's done for the game and how effective he's been over the years.
It's interesting, Todd. Someone with the Padres mentioned to me a couple of days ago that where at one point in his career he might have been overrated. Now he might be underrated. And he's done a lot in the game. And I know at times he's been disappointing in the playoffs for the Dodgers, for instance. But if you look at the breadth of his career, the whole entirety of it, what he has accomplished, it's pretty amazing. And beyond all that, this bears mentioning, he is a role model for other Japanese players from Ohtani on down. They look up to him. He is almost like their godfather. So he has had a huge impact on the game since arriving in the United States. And the 200-win milestone between the two leagues, that would be one benchmark of what he has accomplished. I know wins are not what they used to be, and the analysts will tell me, I don't care about wins. Okay, I got it. But you know what it means? It means longevity. It means you've pitched well for a really long time. And I imagine, I've not talked to you, Darvish, about this yet, but I imagine it means something to him.
Ken, this analyst think wins matter, so that's fine. That's why Todd intentionally walked the kid in Little League to get the win. So I get it. Okay?
That's right.
But, and I'll also say this. Listen, I caught you, Darvish, I think it was his second year in the big leagues, 2013. He had a great year, and actually had an unbelievable year that year. And I thought he could have been even better because he's actually now figured out that he can throw a fastball for a strike and get away with it. So that's been a nice growth step, and that's probably why he's stuck around for so long. And yes, he's had some problems, but he speaks really good English. We'd love to have you on you, so let's go. So Ken, talk to him tomorrow when you see him, or today if you see him. But also, I got to ask about the Braves. Do the Braves have enough? And when is Olsen, Acuna, Riley going to get it going? Because that's the big story for me. I mean, I know Marcell Ozuna has been unbelievable, but at some point, Acuna, Riley, Olsen, and when they get Sean Murphy back, like they're going to need some other people to step up. And do they have enough pitching without Strider? I say yes to catch the Phillies.
Acuna's been better in May. Olsen, some of the underlying stuff is really good. They expect, obviously, those guys are going to perform close to their career levels. The pitching is the bigger question for me, AJ, and obviously Chris Sale has been tremendous. Ronaldo Lopez coming into the rotation, back to the rotation, has been tremendous. Max Fried, since coming off the IL, really good. Charlie Morton, despite his advanced age, really good for the most part as well. My question with this team is, where are they going to be with that rotation in October? Now, one thing, and I'll probably talk about this tomorrow, is they've gone to 5 days of rest or more, or 6 days of rest or more than they have in the past. And they're trying to space it out, trying to preserve their guys as best they can. But the injury histories are what they are. The innings histories are what they are. And I just wonder if at some point, while they have some depth options, I just wonder if they're going to need another starter. That to me, would be the biggest question with them. Their bullpen's really good. Their offense is going to be really good, in my opinion. But what is that rotation state going to be in September going into October? Will it be enough?
I have the same feeling. I like what I see right now, but it's hard for me to imagine that all of those names are going to get through the season and feel okay. So we'll see. We'll watch you on the game this weekend. Have fun on the call, Ken.
I won't.
Well, you have your own game, AJ.
Yeah,
we'll do a little 2-screen action. Anyway, Ken, have fun on the game. We'll see you next week.
AJ, have a great game, man.
Thanks, Ken. I really appreciate it, man. We're going to do it without a reporter. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Wow.
Now we'll get
you guys
through.
are great. Thanks, Ken. Talk to you soon.
Have a great weekend, guys.
You too. It's a little bit of, I don't know. I just watched the end of Curb Your Enthusiasm, the Ken AJ dynamic. I don't know what it is, but it's got something to it. Gotta love it. Mondays, Thursdays, Ken without AJ. Mondays, solo Ken. It's called Fair Territory. Go check it out wherever you get your pods or on this very YouTube channel. Thursdays, it's Ken and Alana Rizzo for a live Fair Territory. I don't know what it is. There's a comp somewhere. Maybe someone can think of it, but the Ken AJ dynamic, it's got something to it. It's a sitcom.
Ren and Stimpy.
I don't know what sitcom. Ren and Stimpy.
Ren and Stimpy.
I think there's a lot of our audience now that probably don't know who Ren and Stimpy are. Unless they're still around. I don't watch cartoons anymore, but I'm guessing they've been gone for a minute.
I think so.
Wasn't it on Nickelodeon? They're kind of into other things now. I mean, wait. Did anyone see that documentary? No.
Oh.
Sorry.
I didn't see the doc, but I read some things.
That was tough.
Not good. Not good.
Not good.
Not for this show, but you can read it.
Yeah.
Hot corner time. Ken weighed in. Let's get our 3 cents. Steve Cohen deletes the tweet about the Mets and then talks on SNY. I think it was before the game, right? I mean, I saw the comments and the Mets had a nice dub over the Phillies in extras. And Cohen said, I believe in this team. I believe in the back of the baseball card. It's way too early to speculate on anything. It's May 16th. I expect to make the playoffs. I know the fan base is frustrated, but it's still early. We're still very capable of making the playoffs. I fully expect to make the playoffs. You know, what this said to me, Todd Father, and there's the deleted response where he said, all in the future, not much we can do until trade deadline. To me, this is just frustrated super fan. That's the character that he plays. He is a super fan of the Mets before he owned the team. I think he's pissed. I think he realizes that even though they kind of all agreed to take a mini step back while David Stearns takes over and they're going to be more aggressive in this offseason coming up, it still hurts to see it. I think he expected this team to be more of a
Scott, I'll be honest. I think he knows what he's doing. I think the guy's a very smart dude. I think, he went on SNY. It probably wasn't planned. I mean, they might say it was, but when somebody does a tweet like that and all of a sudden they got to come back on, explain themselves, it was this, it was that. He knows what he's doing. I don't think he's a very smart guy, as we know. So I think we can all laugh about it. We can all understand that, he doesn't really make many mistakes. Are we all human? Yes. But on that internet, for a guy like that and his stature and his prowess and what he does for the Mets, he's got to double, triple check everything he does. Maybe it was something to put a spark in somebody. I don't know. I just think he's smarter than that. And I think there's a method to everybody's madness.
I'm going to defer to Todd on this one. I think he just messed up. And I think he made a mistake and he sent a tweet he probably didn't mean to. Most people have done this. Twitter always wins, right? Or X or whatever you want to call it. So I think he just made a mistake. He owned up to it. And plus, it got him good ratings on his TV station. He owns SNY. So
no, he doesn't own them.
Oh, I thought the Mets owned SNY.
No, the Wilpons, as far as I know, still own SNY. It's been an ongoing thing for a while. I think Cohen eventually will, but they still do own them. I think they've still kind of had a hold up on money, something like that. So the Wilpons still makes
at some point he does have an option to buy it for sure.
He does. Okay. Yeah. See, I know there's some business behind that, but either way, wait, I'm going to go against you guys. Who cares? He's the owner who is transparent. Most of the owners don't say crap, right? Or it's cookie cutter answers. For me, he's like pissed. This is a little George Steinbrenner-ish to me. It's like, yeah, we suck. I'm going to trade these dudes away at the deadline because they're pissing me off. We're not good enough. I'm cool with that. I know it's we're sensitive
why
now.
did he have to go back on? Why did he have
What?
to go back on and explain it?
What do you mean?
He went on SNY and said, "Oh, this was a problem." Instead of saying, "You know what, I did write it. I guess I didn't really mean it. I should have thought it over, or this is what I wanted to do." You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be that guy, the asshole, but I'm just saying, like, why didn't he, like, I don't know. I just was trying to explain it a little better.
No, well, here's my thing, because yeah, go ahead, AJ, and then I'll.
No, he said he meant to be a DM. He was DMing to somebody and somehow put it out there, which is even better because that's like the ultimate excuse. Oh, I was hacked, or I didn't mean to tweet that when I was down at 3 a.m. Sorry. But not saying he was either one, but still, it's like, all right, he made a mistake. But this is how he feels. So now we know how he feels. And why did he go on SNY? Because he's like, players are going to be pissed at me. But yeah, sorry.
Exactly.
It was like, because once he realized he made the mistake, he was like, I got to figure out a way to cover this because people are going to be angry in New York, and players see that and they're like, man, already? After all this stuff about we're going to go for it. Imagine JD Martinez. Remember what he said? I signed here because I'm addicted to the playoffs. We're going to the playoffs. And Steve Cohen's like, it's May 16th and we're selling already.
Yeah, because he's pissed. Todd Father, you were in that clubhouse not long ago. Don't you think if he didn't take it back, some of the players would have been like, "Oh, he doesn't believe in us. I'm mad." Whatever. See, like, I'm taking it more Steinbrenner, where it's like, "Yo, I spent all this money on this team. The results last year were absolute crap. We basically had to do a mini reload from it, and we're very mid again. So if this doesn't turn around, I'm trading dudes." That's Steinbrenner from back in the day.
Yeah, I get it. I'm not a big fan of going online and, I don't know. I think the internet, I guess it's sometimes you can read into it as what you want, but maybe just go on SNY and talk about it instead of writing back to saying he's DMing fans. Okay, I guess. I've never heard of such a thing, but I don't know. Maybe it's not professional. Maybe it's the new age of baseball, but your direct messaging fans, all in the future, and the guy you've never met before. But I guess that's just a new way of baseball now. What people do. Scott, do you like that? I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it.
I eat it up. I freaking love it because I think he's acting like a super fan. He's being transparent. He didn't say it's season's over. He said, "Hey, like, we can't do anything about this team right now until the trade deadline. There's nothing to do. So I'm just letting you know." To me, that means he's pissed. Like, I'll put it on an AJ example. The White Sox suck. We all know that. If Jerry Reinsdorf said, "You know what? The last group I had was selling me on a plan. The vision didn't work out. I'm pissed. I don't spend as much as I should. I get it. I should spend more in free agency, but I don't. This is how I work my books. And I think that we still should be a better team if we tanked for 5-6 years and we had a 1.5-year window. So I'm freaking tearing it all down again and we're starting, okay? Because we sucked. I did a bad job. We're going to try this one more time." I think fans would at least be like, okay.
Not the White Sox fans.
You think they would not like him saying that?
They're sick of the rebuilding. White Sox fans are sick of the rebuilding, though. They just went through one. They didn't make the playoffs for, 13 years from 2008 to 2020? 2020, the shortened season, really 2021 in a full season. So they went, 13, 14 years without making the postseason. After basically, I think after the year I left, 12 or 13, they're like, yeah, we're going to tear it down. That was 7 years, 8 years. When Todd was there. He knows what it was like. They were like, fans were already restless, right? And then they finally are like, all right, we got all these guys. We got Moncada. We traded Sale. We got Moncada. We got Robert. We got Jimenez. We got Abreu. We got Liam Hendricks. We got Lance Lynn. We got all these guys lined up. Boom, it's our time. They don't make it out of the first round of the playoffs. And then all of a sudden the next year they fall apart. And then you're like, oh, we're going to do this again, guys. We'll see you in 10 more years. Like, that's tough for a fan base to take. And the fans are already mad because they don't see the future. Because listen, I give Jerry credit for this. When he thought he had a chance, when he brought in La Russa and COVID hit and all that, but He had a chance, and he said, all right, we're going to do this, and we're going to spend some money, which he did. He didn't take it over the top. He could have maybe gotten more, fans will say, but he did the best he could with what he was given. But then you look at the last couple of years, he hasn't spent the money to keep it going. So the fans are like, all right, well, gosh, we're going to go through another 10-year rebuild. We don't want to do this. And that it's hard for a fan base unless you win. Now, if you're the Cubs, the Astros, and you guys win your World Series, and the Astros have been hot forever, fans are a little more trusting. But from what the White Sox fans, and I'm just saying this from White Sox fans, they look at it and like, God, again, we got to go through another one of these. This sucks.
And I'll put a bookmark on the Cohen thing. Like, does he not think that you DM somebody, anybody, they can't just take a picture of that and post it online? So that's where the smartness and confusion comes in. But that's my bookmark, and I'm gonna die on that.
Okay. Let's bring in our next guest on FT Live, our buddy, Lance Lynn of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, I want to ask Lance Lynn about that stuff too.
We should ask him about that. Lance, what's going on, dude? So
what's up,
Lance, what's up? I'm gonna bring you into this, okay? For perspective, and I'll generalize it a little bit. So don't be worried. We're not gonna put you in a bad spot. So Mets owner Steve Cohen tweets a lot. Do you like when an owner acts like a super fan and is very transparent, even if there's a mistake every once in a while? Or would you rather have everybody be super businesslike and never say anything and keep everything under the vest? Because, I mean, you've been on this show with us since the start. It's kind of the purpose of what we're doing here is to bring some more entertainment to the game because the NBA kicks our ass in that category.
All in all, so I don't have Twitter, so I'm new to whatever he did right now. So that probably tells you my answer, though. So
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, when you own a team, you're in a little different category than most. But I'm all for his wanting to put a winner on the field and really trying to take the Mets to a championship. So it's kind of it's a little different with him than it is with most managers. This is his baby. The Mets are his baby. Some manager or some owners that own the team as part of their portfolio.
Well, here, I'll put it exactly. I'll put it this way. So to bring you into a little more context, there was a fan who was saying they should, trade a bunch of dudes, and Cohen replied to him on a DM and, in a message to him and said, all in the future, not much we can do until the trade deadline. The way I take something like that is because I'm coming from growing up in Jersey and observing George Steinbrenner. Hey, I spend a lot of money on this team. If we're not good, I'm trading dudes at the deadline. To me,
right.
That's not breaking news. And if a player is offended by that, you're soft.
True. No, I'm agreeing with that. I guess the big thing is nowadays you can just tell everybody what your plan is without having to sit in front of a bunch of reporters and do all that. So, whatever fan that was got the insight that he plans on doing something, no matter where the team's at.
I like that.
Agreed. He got the inside scoop. That fan is like, man, look at me go.
Yeah. Now just go straight to the owners on Twitter or Instagram, and they'll DM you and let you know what their plans are.
Not a bad play if you think about it.
There's probably two, right, that are active like that right now. I'd say Cohen and the new Orioles owner.
Yeah, maybe, and then NBA, Cuban will probably do it too. So they like for you to give them the insights to how to run their team.
What's the Clippers guy? The Clippers guy will do it too, won't he? The Clippers guy, he's kind of out there.
Yeah, he likes it. He seems to. I mean, he's all for it right now because they're about to open a new arena. So he's gonna invite anybody and ask any questions they want moving forward.
I love it.
Hey, it's a good way to get buzz.
All right, well, here you go. What would you ask Bill DeWitt if you could ask him anything? I mean, you might as well just DM him if he answers you back.
If I had the anything on the line, I would do it, but I don't. So I'll ask him in person. But the big thing is any fan, if you're asking like as a fan wise, any fans, what's the plan, right? If you don't start off the way you want to, what's the plan? Are we gonna push forward, or are we gonna hold back and see what it looks like? And then every fan that teams are winning right now, it's, hey, what's the plan? How are we gonna add on and be better? So the number one question to all owners right now is, what direction are we gonna go in at the deadline? Are we gonna punt, or are we gonna go for it? So I know every player's answer is we're going for it, and the number one thing starts with us playing better.
You're a vet, so you've experienced different front offices. How communicative are front offices with players about the state of the franchise? Like, do you get to a point usually with a team in July and the GM will sit down with certain players, especially vets, and say, hey, here's what we're thinking. You might get dealt, or we're still deciding if we're going to be buyers or sellers. Like, how much communication is going on with the front office side? And then how much of that spills into players talking in the clubhouse?
I think there's a little bit of communication. You got an idea if you're going to be on the block or not. Everybody kind of, especially the older you get, and you know that if your contract's 1 year or something like that, you definitely are more in the loop than say a younger guy that's got controllable years, because they also don't know the business yet. They haven't really been through it and stuff like that. So a lot of the front offices don't want to let them know anything because they don't want it to cloud their head. So I've been on organizations that have done both, where, they've kept you in the loop and you know what's going on. And then sometimes where you kind of get blindsided by it. And, either way, as an athlete, you got to, pack it up and go if you get traded. And if you don't get traded, you got to say, all right, well, I was on the block, but I didn't get traded. So now I just got to figure out how to make the best of the rest of this year.
I hate to say this, but I got to bring up what writers say. We always talk about, we don't listen to them, but they talk about the Cardinals and how they have a slow start. I got to ask, why do you think that is? I mean, is there just something to it? Is it just baseball, or is that just, how it goes there?
Yeah, I think that you look at every team you've ever been on, right? You get the old, sometimes you play above your skis early on, and like everyone's like, oh, we're going to win it all. And then, then you see it you actually come back down to earth a little bit. We unfortunately did the old opposite. We got out of the gate. We were playing around 500 ball, and then this kid where we did none of the three things you need to do. We didn't pitch, we didn't play defense, we didn't score runs all at the same time, and we went on a losing streak. The back end of that road trip, we started scoring some runs. We started playing better defense, started pitching a little better. So now, if we can start doing all those together, we got a chance here.
So 8 games back, nobody's pressing the panic button right now. It's just move on, move forward. You got Gibson starting today. You guys should feel pretty good. I mean, I know it's 8 games, but at the same time, you got a long ways to go.
Yeah, 8 games. We haven't even played the Cubs yet. The in division, we haven't played 3 of the 4 other teams in our division yet. So we still got a lot of baseball to play. Obviously the best way to look at it. But this homestand coming up, we've got some tough teams coming up. So we've got to strap it on and play good baseball and figure out how to win series at a time, take it one series at a time, one game at a time, and start racking up those series wins. And then next thing you know, you'll look up and you'll be right where you want to come that June, July mark, and then you see what the trade deadline looks like and where everybody stands.
Lance, how much does the third wild card come into play for teams these days? Because, Todd Father mentions the division, which would be great, but lately wild card teams are the sexy teams in October and do just as well as the division winners, the dominant juggernauts that take the division. So, how much of a factor is that? And also, do you like that we have more openness to postseason teams now here with 3 wild cards?
I would say from early on in career to now, I feel like, I love the postseason and love to be able to be in it. I will think that I like the 2 wild card system, not the 3, but that being said, that does change it. You can sneak in there, just over 500, get hot the last stretch, and then next thing you know, you take it in the postseason. And a team that's had I was with the Dodgers last year. We had the long layoff, and we went in to play a team that got hot and started beating everybody. And they took it all the way to the World Series. So it is fun. I think that the extra playoff team gives a team like us a chance, man. We started off slow. We had some injuries early on. We need to get guys, back to full health, back to, playing good baseball. And then next thing you know, you just start, chipping away. Next thing you know, you look up, you're getting in that wild card round, and then, who knows what can happen, because we've got some guys who can pitch, and we've got some, very talented players that score some runs in a playoff series. So we're built for that. We just got to, start chipping away and winning series.
Lance, we had Gibson on. He's pitching tonight not long ago, and Contreras recently got hurt. And he said it was you that made Contreras move up closer because of all those low fastballs that you throw. Yeah. So you were trying to get him to steal one, and you were fine with him losing an arm for 1 or 2 strikes. So why did you have him move up so close? And what's it like not throwing to Contreras and having Herrera back there?
So to be honest with you, I only had Contreras one of my first 7 starts, so you can't blame that shit on me. So that was a very good try. And usually when you move up, you try to pick that low breaking ball, but you were always keen to pushing it down like a frying pan. So you wouldn't know anything about trying to steal
That's why I
that
was
low
giving the
strike.
target up. I was giving the target up here. Don't throw it down there, so because then I have to
Don't do
chase
it down there.
Throw it up here.
That thing will be frying pan straight to the ground. No, unfortunately, looking around baseball, though, the catcher's interference are way up everywhere. And it's a big loss for us. Willie is a special player, especially as a catcher who can and do the things he can do offensively. And he always comes with energy and all that. So that's a big loss for us. We hope we get him back as soon as possible, but we know it's going to be a lengthy absence. But catchers are trying to move up, steal that strike. And I think the big thing is people don't realize you go down on that knee, you naturally just kind of have a little bit more extension anyways. And guys are starting to get clipped because they don't realize how far they're out there. Because when you're in the old catcher stance, you can't lean out that far or you'll fall forward. So they're getting more extension and stuff like that. So they got to definitely pay attention because we don't, obviously we don't want guys to break their arms on a catcher's interference.
So wait, you're the personal pitcher now? Like I have to have my personal catcher because it matters now because you're big time?
No, I think that I pushed my own buttons, so it was like, hey, this is a good time to get the rookie in there today, give Willie a day off, and this guy calls his own pitches, so maybe that just worked out easier for him like that.
You ever thought about letting the catcher call the pitches?
Yeah, I have.
And
yeah, so not my thing anymore.
That was it. No. Well, Yachty back in the day, right? In the first Cardinals stint.
Yeah, I mean, once the PitchCom came in there and the timer came in, it's way easier for the pitcher to call it. You don't call every pitch, but to be able to push a button and go before the guy even gets in the box is really become way easier, especially if a pitcher's got a plan on what he's trying to do and stuff like that. And catcher has one too, so we kind of talk back and forth through the PitchCom through at bats.
Hey, how has PitchCom changed the way that you prepare for batters? Like, are the meetings more important because it's mostly going to be on you and you want the catcher to understand where you're coming from? Are you talking a little bit more during innings or between innings?
I would say, to be honest with you, you probably talk less in between innings and stuff. Your pitchers meetings and your with the pitching coach and all that are usually all the same. You're going over each hitter. You're going over the do's and don'ts, and don't guys you don't want to beat you, who's been doing what throughout the series, things of that nature. What your plans are and how you can adjust if you see something. And then with the PitchCom nowadays, you can push a button right away. Before he even calls something, so doesn't need to be too much of the back and forth. Like back in the day, you didn't want to shake all the time. You want to try to create rhythm and stuff like that. So now, if you've got a pitch in mind, you can call it right away. So it makes it a little easier.
I love it. Listen, as a former catcher, I'm like, yeah, he wants to call his own game. He gives up the homer. That's right on him. He can't blame me anymore. So push all the buttons you want, Lance. If you give up a homer, I'm just like, your fault, not mine.
No, and I think that's perfect because the worst thing that you ever see in baseball is you look up and be like, oh, I didn't want to throw that pitch. It's like, then you shouldn't have fucking thrown it. Like, it's pretty simple. Right. So nowadays it's like you have no choice. Like, you have no reason. It's like, hey, if you want another pitch, push the damn button on your glove or wherever you have the pitch comm and throw it. All in all, I think that it helps and it's also helped speed up the game and stuff like that. If we wouldn't have it with the pitch clock, there would be so many more balks and balls and stuff like that because the shaking and stuff is just it's impossible to do with the pitch clock.
Lance, I'm going to take us in a different direction to finish here. Just some more generic baseball questions for you. So I got 3 for you. Here's number 1. What's one random thing from your career that you have kept?
Ooh. Like most everything I have, I say random. Man, I don't keep much. It's literally team memorabilia from All-Stars or World Series. And like every year when I leave the team, it's a jersey. So I'll have all that when I'm done playing. I try not to take anything like, I guess I have an old champagne bottle, still corked with everything in it from the World Series in 2011. That's probably something wouldn't expect, I guess.
One more question from me. Who is the coolest, most famous guy you've ever met?
The Todd father.
Oh, come on, man. You talking about Todd Helton or Todd Frazier?
No, no, yeah, you were the biggest thing in the world when we were 12, 13 years old.
Oh,
So
man.
True.
yeah,
You hear
no,
about,
I
you
said
hear
when
about,
you ask like, are you like talking like, if I could call someone on my cell phone the coolest guy on my cell phone, I would go.
yeah, go ahead.
I'd say Rex Ryan, the football coach. So he would, he would
Nice.
answer it. Yeah, great guy to golf with.
You guys
Nice.
look similar too, by the way.
Yeah.
But we had Kyle Gibson on. He said that you were the most famous person because he said growing up in Indiana, everyone knew who Lance Lynn was. And Lance Lynn was like a legend apparently around the Indianapolis area.
That's what he tells me, and I told him it's very easy to live in my shadow because I'm a large person. So he's done a good job and made a career for himself. So I'm very proud of him.
So is it true? Who's a bigger Little League star? You or Todd? Because I mean, we've all heard about the Little League World Series.
Come on now, come on.
It's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious who the guys. Todd was able to ride that all the way to make a major league career out of it too. I don't know how he did it, but he was able to ride that for a long time.
And now it's coming full circle.
He got drafted in the second round for what he did in the Little League World Series. I've never seen anything like it.
Hey, Lance, let me ask you this because he asked us this at the beginning. Todd's now coaching Little League. He intentionally walked a kid at 10 or 11 years old. Would you ever do that in your life? Never. I would never do that.
Lance, hear me out, bro.
Can't have it.
No, hear me out, dude. It's intense where I'm at, bro. First place implications on the line. Playoffs coming up. I had to do it. I'm sorry.
Oh man, that's tough for me. That's a tough one. Let the kids play, man.
Hey,
it's about development and having fun. It's not about winning, right?
That's what they say.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be where you're at if it wasn't about winning. I promise you that.
No, I appreciate you, big doggy. And
Jersey Little League, it's
glory
different.
on the side.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not there yet. We'll cross that bridge when I get to it. I'm hoping my son's the one or my daughters are the ones that get walked because they're too good, and then I'll be chirping from the stands. I'm like, let the kids play.
No, you'll be.
I will say this: I will say this, if one of my kids are pitching, we're not walking anybody. It's you versus me. Here we go.
Exactly.
Oh hell yeah!
By the way,
you're gonna be like, I would never do this.
Don't you dare, Cave. If you don't want to face him, just put it in the ribs and move on to the next kid.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Hey, Lance, make sure you tip the service guy when you get your gas, okay? Thanks.
I will. I'll make sure he's good. Yeah, he'll be all right.
Okay. Appreciate
I
it.
get these wheels shined up too. We'll be good to go.
Yeah, take care of the people, okay?
I am. I'm a man of the people.
He is.
It's self-service, though.
Wait, is it New Jersey where it's all full service all the time? New Jersey, though, is that the state that has
no, we don't get out of our car. Nope.
No. It's a safety hazard.
Don't get out of the car. They intentionally walk 11-year-olds in Little League. What a place.
It is. I swear. I went to Miami when I moved there. It was the first time because I guess you're not driving growing up. I get to Miami and I'm with a friend and he's like, "Oh, you want to handle the gas? I'll run inside." And I'm like, "Huh?"
Yeah.
He was like,
"Sorry, there's someone for that."
Yeah, I never knew. I mean, I knew about it, but I didn't think about it. So it's I think there's only 2 states with full service. The rest of the country, knows how to pump gas. So
I don't know how the rest of the country does it.
We're giving more jobs to the people, all right?
There you go.
I love that.
Exactly. New Jersey, giving jobs out and intentionally walking people if they're too good.
All right. Yeah. All right. Enough. All right.
At 10.
Thanks, Lance. Appreciate you, dude. Great to catch up as always. We'll catch you soon.
Enjoyed it, fellas.
Later.
I'll talk to you later.
Same here. Talk to you soon. Lance Lynn on FT. It was great.
Oh,
hey, it's true. It's a true story. I got out of the car and I was like, huh? It wasn't like a bouge thing. It was just like, I'm sorry, we don't do this in the state. And at the time, I was probably like 18. I hadn't been driving for long. I didn't drive outside of the state. And I was like, what?
Scott, I got to tell you, I go to the Cape Cod League, 6-hour drive. I stopped to get gas in Rhode Island or Massachusetts. I forgot. I was sitting there for 10 minutes. Like, shit, I got to get out. I pump it, put the cap on top of the roof, freaking drive right off. The cap went flying. I totally forgot. I stopped and finally got to Chatham, and I look. I'm like, oh, I left my cap on the hood. All right. Bye cap.
See, it's dangerous.
You guys need to get out.
Dude, you can't let Jersey people out of the state because they'll mess up the gas stations.
Trust me, we've been trying to keep them out of Florida for years. You guys just won't stay away.
Oh, no, you got more New Jersey people than anybody there.
It's true. Jersey loves Florida. I will say that. Jersey loves Florida. I'm telling you.
They're clean and all this cool stuff.
Yeah,
hey, I'm the big proponent. I remember it was the coolest thing if you're a kid in school and you're like, oh, where are you going? Vacation in Florida. It's like, ooh, cool.
At least you're saying it right now. It's not Florida. Hey, we're in Florida.
Well, I'm saying it just to get you off my ass.
Florida.
All right. We can BS, but our producers would get pissed at us because we would be skipping our weekly holiday. It's called batting stance. So we're going to play the game for a few minutes here.
Oh, we were going to miss it again.
Oh,
we're going to make it. All right. We'll just do a few. Here's number one.
Oh, that's oh my gosh, the lean is that's Bogarts. It looks like Bogarts, but it's not. I think it's Bogarts. Isn't it Bogarts? We already did this one. It looks like Bogarts. Xander.
I don't think it is.
All right, well, if it's not, it's not.
Who is that?
What's yellow mean?
He's in the NL West.
No, green, I thought.
Oh, yellow means what?
Yeah. I think same division. You know, we've played this game a lot, and I still don't know what the color coding hint
Same
is.
league, different division. So it's it's a National League player.
Is that Whit Merrifield? No.
Yeah, it could be Whit.
I don't.
He's from USA. That's good. So he's in the Central, NL Central.
We have a vote from John Michael, said Dansby.
Oh, yeah, it is Dansby.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, it's Dansby. You can tell by the leg kick. Dansby.
Yeah.
I should have known that. Ex-teammate, I should have known him.
Oof. That's a nice swing.
Good job, FT fam.
Yeah.
A couple more.
Round two.
Ooh. Oh. Don't like that finish at all. By the way, how big is their bat? What are they playing with, a broomstick?
Dude,
I
I don't have any clue.
Jeremy Meyer, our something in our show, said Jaron Duran.
Jaron Duran.
Yeah. Jaron Duran. Yeah, he's wrong. He didn't even know his own team.
Hey, that might be him. No, it wasn't him.
No. So he's in the National League. National League
American born.
An outfielder.
I'm trying to think of that follow through.
Josh Lowe, but he's American League. A National League guy. Oh. That follow through is. It's not Olsen.
Is that Heim? No.
Ooh.
Vapors in the chat said, what about Cronenworth?
All right, try the Crone Zone, baby.
Oh.
NL West, US. If it's a Rocky, I got no chance. I'm just telling you right now.
You and me both.
Can that be Blackman? That might be Blackman.
Charlie. I think you got it. I can't.
Got it. Well done.
Very nice.
Well played. One more?
You can't see him hitting, but yeah.
He never appeared. They didn't pay for his NIL.
Oh, wait, we're doing pitchers now?
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's
bonus.
Imanaga. Isn't that
Pop
Imanaga?
quiz.
No, is that lefty or righty?
That's a lefty, bro. That's got to be a lefty. That's got to be Imanaga with the double leg.
I'm seeing a righty on my view here.
I'm seeing a righty too. Are we seeing it reverse on certain screens?
Yeah. You guys are drunk, yo. Imanaga, yo. That's easy. Boom.
See,
Oh,
it
hey,
depends.
Scott, that was right-handed, bro.
Dude, what are you guys talking about? Dude, you guys must not be amphibious in New Jersey.
He's throwing away from you.
Did you say amphibious?
Of course, you're not amphibious.
Ambidextrous.
Ambidextrous, I thought the word was.
Oh my gosh! All right, good job though. Good job on Imanaga.
Not in Florida.
It is real though. There was some Jersey illusion going on in our brain. It is real.
Dude, can we show that again? Can we please show that again and figure out how in the fuck y'all got right-handed out of that?
No, it was definitely right-handed pitcher, Scott. That's not what we saw.
No, that's not what we saw.
Wait, hold on. Can we try another one just to? Did y'all think he was throwing it at you?
Yeah, the ball was coming towards me.
That's Verlander.
Oh, yeah. See, this one's different though. This is a righty, right?
Yeah, that's Verlander.
Yeah,
right.
now it's right.
The last one for me looked different though. Todd, didn't it come? See, this one is going straight that way. The last one was coming at me.
I'm seeing the catcher and umpire in the top right now, so that's what helped me now. You know.
Right, good job. Got JD. AJ wins. Let's go to money moves.
What do I win?
Money. A new car.
You win Saturday off from this show.
I was gonna say, I don't get Saturday off. I don't get any days off.
No, maybe Sunday. Oh, we're gonna get a guess, so we'll wait on money moves. I do want to get to this later, though. Mark Pryor was on Dodgers territory, so I do want to get to that coming up in just a bit. Dodgers territory's been kind of dominating. I mean, they've already brought on Mark Pryor, Miguel Rojas, Will Smith, Jerry Hairston Jr. A lot of those notable Dodger names, either coach, player, or broadcaster. All right, let's get to our next guest on FT.
True.
On here for the first time. Let's welcome Seattle Mariners do-it-all, Dylan Moore, to the show. Dylan, great to have you on here for the first time. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course. Thanks for coming on. And tell us, first off, just a summary of how you think the season's going for the Seattle Mariners. You've been there for a minute now. What year is this for you with Seattle?
This is year 6 for me. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I made the team out of spring training in 2019. It was like a rebuild type thing. So I've been through the ups and downs of this thing. I think where we're at right now is a decent spot. Our record may not be indicative of how well we're playing, or I don't think we're playing our best baseball yet, but our pitching is unbelievable. So we're just trying to score just as many runs as it takes for just one more than the other team to win at this point.
I wanted to ask you this early in your career, being traded a couple times, and how does that impacted you on your path and your mindset and everything else?
Yeah, I was traded in the minor leagues way back in 2000 at the end of my first season. It was one of those trades where it was just me and maybe a couple of international slot picks. So it was kind of like, hey, this team wanted me. It was the Braves at the time. So it didn't feel like it was like they were letting me go or anything like that. It felt like it was a good situation. But yeah, baseball is weird, man. You see guys from all over the place, from when you play with them in the fall league, when you play with them against them growing up, when you played against them in the minor leagues, and now in the big leagues. So it's a little bit all over the place, but it was only that one time, so it hasn't affected me for a while now. I've kind of stayed steady here in Seattle.
Dylan, I love your comment, by the way. We're trying to score just one more run than the other team. Like, is this team going to break out offensively or what? I mean, the pieces are there. I know there's been some injuries. Julio hasn't got hot yet, but, I mean, you filled in nicely at shortstop. Let's go. I mean, you guys got the pitching. When's this offense going to break out for the Mariners and put some distance between you guys and the rest of the division?
You'll know just as soon as we know. We know that we haven't hit to our expectation of what we want as an offense. As far as excuses go, I hate to make it, but hitting a T-Mobile is not hard. It's not very fun, especially in the cold winter months. So I think that a lot of these balls that are just getting to the track, maybe as it heats up, will go over, and that will give us a little bit more confidence going into the summertime, and we'll get hot. At some point, we're going to get hot. The pitching, as far if we're talking about how these guys are throwing harder and it's harder to hit and all this stuff. There's a lot of things that go into it, but I think that you're right. We do have the pieces. We have some guys that are not playing to what is expected of them, and everyone knows that. And so what keeps me going is like I look around the locker room and I see a bunch of guys who just want to work hard, and everyone's working every single day to get better. And I know that it's gonna turn around, and there's different guys that have contributed over the course of these 6 weeks in the end of the season. And so I'm happy with where we're at moving forward, even though we haven't played to our full potential yet.
Yeah, that's where I wanted to go. And we've talked to some others about this too. How much of a difference does it feel like on the road? I know there's a few other parks that probably stand out too, but especially early on in the season, because you've been there for a while, when the team's going through a little bit of a slump and then you hit the road and you're in a more friendly environment. Let's say it's a Houston, for example, and all of a sudden you're getting those little cheapy homers to the Crawford boxes and you're in a controlled environment like that. How much of a difference have you seen it from the ball club, and how it can kind of like raise the team from a confidence standpoint? And the one individual I'll pinpoint too is your teammate last year, Teoscar Hernandez. He was very vocal about it. He was like, yo, I can't see the ball well here. Look at my home road splits. And then this year he looks normal again.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, a lot to go over there. I think, like I said, it's definitely not easy. The marine layer gets you. The dimensions of the ballpark are maybe a little bit bigger, especially in the cold months. The ball just does not fly, and so I think that anyone can get frustrated with these balls that you're hitting hard, that should be hits at the expected average of whatever it is, blah blah blah. But then you're right, you go on the road and you do the same thing that you do at home and you get rewarded for it. So I think that it's a little bit of a mental emotional challenge to stick with what you're doing, just try to make contact and hit the ball hard, and that's kind of all you can do. And so the ballpark will affect it in different ways, and you just kind of have to have a steady mindset moving forward, and don't do anything. Don't try to do anything different on the road or at home. It's just one of those things where a homer, into the Crawford's boxes, maybe an out at T-Mobile. You just got to try to stay as consistent as you can.
Consistency is key for sure. I want to go over in April though, something silly, kind of funny. You got ejected during a review. There was a check swing by Laureano, actually hit his hand. Well, I thought it was a full swing, to be honest. They called it a hit, runner out at first. They reviewed it, said he got hit by pitchers, rewarded the base. And all you see is Vic looking in the dugout, the umpire. And he's like, you know what? Threw somebody out, and it happened to be you. Go over exactly what happened, and then explain to me like what the result was and why they came up with that after he literally fully swung the baseball bat.
Yeah, so watching that play develop, like he swung the ball, I want to say it went right back to the pitcher, and yes. I think it was Logan at the time. The only problem that we ran into was that he didn't actually make the out at first, and so like there wasn't a completed play. So we were wondering, like, we obviously saw, we weren't sure how it could be a check swing if the ball literally went into play. Like that's like the opposite of a swing or a batted ball, I suppose. So we're waiting for the review. And then they kind of looked down at the first base umpire and asked him if he swung. He said no. We said, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. But then we're thinking, all right, if they're looking at it from in New York and they see, okay, it hit his hand, but also he kind of swung. We're thinking if they want to get the call right, which they always say they want to get the call right, they might make that distinction, but they didn't make that distinction. We're all yelling from the dugout. He makes eye contact with me, and I keep yelling, and then he threw me out.
That's great. Well, welcome to the club. Congratulations. You got kicked out of the game. Speaking of ejections, you homered off Ronel Blanco. Is that the reason he went to use sticky stuff, because he gave up a homer to you? Because, we always joke, Kratz and I, that, Kratz especially would say, I hit a homer off a guy, they get sent down or released the next day. So is that why he had to go to the sticky stuff, because you hit a homer off him the other day?
I don't think so, man. I don't know. I've looked at his numbers. He's been pitching pretty well. I'm not sure what happened there with the sticky stuff. You'd have to ask him, and I'm not sure. He's a good pitcher. I knew that I had to get on top of the ball at that with his ride and everything, and I was able to do that. But am I the reason that he was? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Hey, have your pitchers like you're on the field, you see it? Have your pitchers said anything about different umpires being stricter about the sticky versus sticky or whatever? Like, some umpires seem to be more inclined to judge it, and then some umpires are like, hey, go wash your hands between innings and come back and we'll check you again. Have you noticed a difference in like umpires' level of stickiness?
I try to stay out of the pitcher stuff as much as possible, just because I do not understand most of them personally, like personality wise, and a lot of like what they do. But I would say that you're right. I think in past years there was like one specific crew that had a little bit more ejections than different crews, and then you see these. There's definitely. I'm not sure if there's a line that's being crossed or like how clear the rule is, but there does seem to be like, hey, go wash your hands. Hey, go change your glove, and then this guy is out of here. So I'm not really sure. I haven't looked into it too much, but it does seem like there's a little bit of we should make it a little more clear, maybe.
Hey, Dylan, while we're on this topic, what's your prep like for a game? Does it get as in-depth as looking at how the umpire calls balls and strikes? Obviously, you're prepping for the pitcher and you're getting all the notes that you need. But do you also look at how the ump calls the zone, especially if it's somebody that you haven't had behind the plate before?
It's interesting you mentioned that. I was actually just talking to Cal Raleigh about this, because he does get a cold hot zone for the pitchers. I mean, for the umpires, excuse me. And I've been trying to look at that a little bit. Now I know, and most of us know, different guys have larger zones than others. But what I was looking at for him was as specific as, hey, he calls outside to righties more than inside, or he calls a little bit higher than lower, or like these guys that are like super cold, like it was red and blue, super cold, they don't call anything. So like I'm not sure. It hasn't really changed my approach too much, other than the fact that maybe I would be a little bit more, if I know that he's a little bit more off the outside corner, then I would take a little bit. I would try to fight those off or things like that, or just be a little bit more. I remember in Houston, we were facing Valdez, and I want to say it was Quinn. I forget his last name. Maybe it's Walcott.
Quinn Walcott.
Yep, that's him. I knew he was a little bit. He's a good umpire. Doesn't call too much out of the zone, and Valdez has a lot of late movement, and so I was leading off that game, and I was kind of trying to see where the zone was, and he threw a couple that were just down that he didn't call, and so I kind of went from there as far as that. But yeah, it might. As far as hitting goes, there's so many different things that you have to think about, and then when you're in the box, you kind of don't want to think too much. So it's kind of you got to have a balance there.
I like it. On the pitching topic, who is your favorite pitcher to watch on the Seattle Mariners?
Man, we have a couple of them. George Kirby's a good one to watch. The intensity with which he throws gives us a lot of confidence on the back end just to make these plays. They all have their own thing with regards to like how they throw, but they all get people out just crazy movement in different ways, with low slots, high slots, splitters, and they're all super competitive. Logan literally becomes a different person on his start days to get like a little bit more aggressiveness and sharpness to him, and so I think that's a lot of these guys. I love playing behind these guys. It's really awesome.
Yeah, they're fun to watch, man. The late night, because I'm on the East Coast, usually you flip on a little Mariners game. A lot of times it can get done pretty quick if it's a Logan or George, especially because he doesn't walk anyone either. I'm with you. So you've set a trend this year. JP Crawford goes down. He's been one of the rocks of the ball club for a while. You just kind of jump over to short. And I know you've played many positions, but it seems like Mookie Betts maybe picked up on what you were doing and was like, I could probably do shortstop as well. So how easy has it been for you to just flip over to positions, especially one that's so important?
It hasn't been easy. I think it's easier now that I've done it for a long time. I actually made the team 2019 as the utility player. And so I've been practicing these other positions that I haven't been playing for, 5-6 years now. The hardest thing is probably just being ready for the, coming off the bench or, being ready for all these different situations, be able to think the game. It's actually helped me think the game and come and play along with the other manager's decisions. Who's he gonna bring in? Who am I gonna pinch run for? Who am I gonna hit for? Where am I gonna go into the field? Things like that. So as far as positionally, I've always been a shortstop. I've always been infield, and I've just been trying to increase my versatility, which increases my value, and being able to play all these positions and have our skipper not be worried about plugging me in kind of anywhere, just to get more ABs, which is ultimately what you want. So I've been doing it for a while. Just practice makes perfect, I guess, in that scenario, and then experience in the games and going through all these different situations, and just going through it is probably the best way I can describe it.
And then I've got one for you on your name. So Dave Sims is one of my favorite broadcasters. I do catch many Mariners games late night. I probably catch more West Coast games than I do East Coast, just based on my work schedule. And you're Demo. So do you like Demo? Have you been called that prior? Did Dave come up with that? Give us the backstory.
I think I've been called that before. I mean, ever since I got to the Mariners, it's always been Demo, just the first letter and the last first letter of the first name and the first two of the last. So I think that's just been what it is. It's been there for a while.
Like when you were a kid, they didn't say like, "Oh man, Demo, I want him on my team." Were you just Dylan?
Maybe. That's a good question. I'm not sure how far back it goes. I'd have to look into that. Maybe call some people.
Go ahead, AJ.
Two things for me. Well, actually, there's going to be three questions for me because there's one's a theme of the day and then two other ones. One, I'm coming to Seattle in a couple weeks. I'm going to have a Friday night off there. Where should I go eat? Seattle. I've been to Seattle. I love Seattle, but what's the one spot? It's going to be a Friday night and we're doing the Saturday game. So I'm going to get there Friday early for a nice dinner. Where do I go?
You're actually going to go across the bridge to Bellevue, and you're going to go to Ascend Steakhouse. It's all the way at the top of I'm not even sure what building that is. I know there's residents in there, but it's at the very top. It's called Ascend. Very, very good. Good drinks. Good. They got a little bit of sushi. But what they have is what they're known for is their Wagyu steak. They get it from corn-fed cows or whatever it is in Japan, and they get it sent over. And they got the good seafood there. You can always get good seafood in Seattle. But yeah, that's where I would send you.
All right, and then my second question is because they know I can't get away with this. You went to UCF. You're from California. I live in Orlando. I grew up in Orlando. How the hell does a guy from Yorba Linda end up at UCF?
Yeah. I went to junior college after high school in California at Cypress Junior College, and he knew the coach there. Scott Pickler knew Terry Rooney, who was the coach at UCF, and I got a visit. Or he came out to watch me play, and I got a visit in Orlando. Went over there and had a football. It was a football night. It was awesome. I absolutely loved it, and it was one of my only D1 offers, and so I kind of went for it. Nice.
And I don't know if last time you were at UCF, it's completely different than what it used to be. When you were there 10 years ago.
I still live there. I'm in Windermere. Still live there in the offseason.
Don't be afraid to come sit next to me right here. I don't know. I'm right across the lake.
He can host. He's more handsome than me. He can host.
Great. We got better hair too.
He does.
And he's got about the same size shirt, so you guys can just fill in for each other. All right. So before we go, but yeah, I'm serious. By the way, I didn't know you lived in Windermere. That's awesome. You're expecting your third child, right? Your third child, a son. When he turns 10 or 11 years old, will you intentionally walk somebody on the other team so that you can win the Little League first place trophy?
Intentionally walk. I'm trying to think of this situation. How would this?
Let's say it's second and third, 2 outs. Then the other team has a hitter up, and you're like, no, we're gonna for him.
10 years old, it puts him in like Double-A to win the Little League World Series. So he's an all-star.
No, just like the regular season. You can get into first place.
No.
Thank you. No. So Todd,
AJ,
put it in context. Todd did this.
Dylan, when we first brought it up, AJ, as AJ was, he was not in a good mood, I guess, when he got on the show in the beginning. He's like, oh, well, you won the game, so it really doesn't matter. But I wouldn't have done this. But I wouldn't. So he's changed his ways about 5 times already. So he's just rolling with it. They had their best hitter up. Next guy grounds out. They did the same to us the next inning. We won on a wild pitch. Guess what? We're in first place now. Let's go. And
Wow.
they were 12 years old. They weren't 10. So get it right.
12 is definitely more exciting than
Thank
10.
you.
I don't know. I'd have to look it over.
So when you're at Windermere Little League, Dylan, when you're at Windermere Little League and you're coaching over there, right, and you got the blue and gold on like they wear over there, and your son's you're coaching your son up, and the other team's best hitter comes up, you're just going to go. So I give Todd credit; he won the game though, so it worked out for him.
No, I can't see myself giving a 4 to a 12-year-old.
We're
one more
up here.
I got one fan question. I promised fans I'd get one involved. Philip just said, true or false, leadoff hitter should always take first pitch of the game.
No, false. Not anymore with these guys, how they throw, and 3-0's open, 0-0 first pitch of the game's open. Might be the best pitch you're going to get. No, it's open for business.
Yeah, I like that. Might be the best pitch you get the whole game. If a pitcher's
just
like, I just want to get one over, right? Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I like it. Well, Dylan, it was awesome having you on here for the first time. Appreciate the time. Keep doing your thing. Great to have you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Dylan Moore, Seattle Mariners, Demo.
Damn,
I just love hearing Dave Sims late night.
I didn't know he lived here. I didn't know that either. There's a lot of guys I found out that both, the Lowe brothers live here. Dylan Moore lives here. Man, we're gonna have to start, having a ticket sales here, Scott, and get them over here in the off season.
We should. Can somebody behind the scenes keep a list of our Orlando friends, and we will resend an invite and bring them in the studio, AJ, in the off season. Thank you. Okay, let's take a quick break, and we'll be back with Hot Corner, a little Ohtani talk. Unified Healing is sponsoring this episode of Foul Territory. Unified Healing is an innovative global network of wellness centers powered by Energy Enhancement System, or EE System. This technology promotes wellness and deep relaxation, and there are hundreds of locations across the globe. Interested in experiencing the EE System technology for yourself? Go to unifydhealing.com/foul to learn more and find a center near you. That's UNIFYD healing.com/FOUL. No material or testimonials on the Unified Healing website are intended to be viewed as medical advice or a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment, and before undertaking a new healthcare regimen, including EE System. Like I said, Hot Corner, I meant money moves. Let's do money moves.
Show me the money.
Show me the money! Show me the money!
That's the first time I saw that.
Really? That's one of the better ones that we have, and
No
we
doubt.
even got clearance to be able to do it. It's amazing. Thank you, Jerry. Okay, so I want to start with Shohei Ohtani bobblehead night, which was a massive disappointment on the field for the Dodgers, but it was freaking packed. This was World Series game status. And you don't even get this for the World Series. Lines like crazy to get into the ballpark because only the first 40,000 fans got that bobble. And the regular ones are selling on the secondary market for about $400. There's special gray ones that they gave away, limited edition. They're going for over $3,000. $3,000. So if you don't think bobbleheads are still hot, you're wrong.
Imagine if you get it signed by him too. If he comes down the line, sign that thing, it might be triple. That's insane for a bobblehead. This guy is must-see TV. He is an absolute beast. And now, if you can make little Lego pieces of him. Everything's selling off this guy. Wait till he starts pitching next year. This guy is an absolute stud. I don't think I would pay that much money for it, but I think if somebody's in the mood for those things, God bless them. They just made a lot of money going to a game.
I'm just going to call Karros. I'm going to call Eric Karros and ask him to get me one. That's it.
But what if he can't?
He did the game last night, dude. He's Mr. Dodger. He's the all-time Dodgers home run leader, I think, or he was at one time. But I mean, surely he can get one.
He's the all-time New Jersey home runs leader in the major league.
No, Trout's
I'd
got
actually
him.
Be curious.
Trout.
Oh yeah.
Trout's got him now.
Did he beat him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Trout caught him.
Sorry, Eric.
Wait, I'm curious.
He was very upset. He didn't see that coming at all. He's like, man, Trout's never going to pass me.
Oops.
Can you text EK and be like, hey, dude, if I wanted a bobble, could you get me one?
I mean, he would laugh at me. I guarantee he'd be like, yeah, good luck.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, Ohtani is making this team boatloads and boatloads of money. Also, I don't know if you catch it, but there's press releases left and right. Bob Nightingale tweets about this a lot too. It'll be like, another day, another Dodgers marketing deal. They've signed so many marketing contracts, a lot of them with Japanese companies that are obviously doing marketing deals with the Dodgers after, the Angels were able to take advantage of that for a while. The Dodgers are taking it to another level. Okay, so I mentioned this earlier. Dodgers territory yesterday had Mark Pryor on the show. And of course, our superstar hosts asked him about Shohei Ohtani's pitching progress because I haven't heard much about it and we're expecting him to pitch next year. Here's what he said.
Have you been able to work at all pitching wise with Shohei Ohtani yet, Mark? Obviously, I know he's not pitching this year, but how much have you worked with him so far?
Not much. I've been more just a fan like everybody else, just watching him do some pretty fun things and hit the ball really hard. And fortunately, we don't have to game plan against him anymore and try to get him out. So that's a good thing. But he's 5-6 weeks into his throwing program. As many people know, obviously the beginning of Tommy John throwing is somewhat uneventful. It's 60 feet and 60 throws. It's just kind of a long, arduous process. But I think as the summer goes and we start getting into some more throwing that resembles what he will actually look like throwing a baseball, I think that's, obviously when we'll get into, some finer things of the pitching and the throw. Again, it's a unique situation. He's hitting, so he spends a lot of time obviously preparing for that side of the baseball. And then at the end, where he's concurrently trying to rehab. So it's unique where he's kind of being pulled in two different directions. But he's on the fringes of, listening to what we talk about with our pitchers and how we approach things, how we approach things with the delivery, some throws. He's obviously been kind of a mentor and advisor for Yamamoto too as well. So, he's helping that process. So I think he's hearing a lot of the things, but as far as our intimate involvement right now, it hasn't been too deep. But I think as the summer goes and we start progressing in the long toss program and onto the mound, you'll see us obviously have a few more conversations as far as what he's doing and how he's doing it, and hopefully put us in a better position to leap forward to next year.
And Pryor's great. He's a really good interview. He went over Bueller and Dustin May and many others too. So if you want to check that out, wherever you get your pods, just type in Dodgers Territory, and it has its own YouTube channel now. So if you've been like, hey, where is it on the Foul Territory page? It's on its own channel. It's free to subscribe. We give out free content. Dodgers Territory. Go check it out. There it is. There's Clinton Alana. AJ, are you excited to see Ohtani pitch and hit again next year? And do you think that the Dodgers need him?
They paid him like they need him. Am I excited? Yeah, of course. It was always an event whenever he pitched. The way he's swinging it, though, geez, I don't know that he's. If it takes a step back hitting wise, I don't know. But listen, yeah, it's an event when he pitches. It's an event when Yamamoto pitches, and I like to see the best players do what they're best at. And he's so special at both that, of course, you want to see him do both.
I said it before. I do. I want to see him do everything. He is a show, and people need to go see him. It's like the circus, baby. You go over there, and you're like, wow, I just saw something really special. I want to come back for more.
And he's not a 5. The difference for me is if we had someone who pitches and hits, and he hits this well, and he was like a back-end starter, you're like, do we really want to keep messing with this? It's like, yeah, no, we do. The upside on both sides is best in the league, right? He can be the best hitter in baseball, and he can be one of the best pitchers in baseball. He can win you playoff games on the mound. So, yes, please. Okay, next up, the latest in the Tristan Casas eyewash saga. I've heard he's a great dude and a good interview, so we're gonna have to bring him on. I've met him a couple times because I don't remember I think he's a Miami guy. Is how I've.
He is.
I think he's Lauderdale guy.
Lauderdale, yeah. He's a South Florida guy. So, but yeah, I've met him. He's huge, dude. He's like 6'5", 6'6". But nice guy. And he is seriously the most focused player in Major League Baseball. And everyone else just needs to get on his level,
Hey, playing with him for USA, he was a thing of beauty. He's just so this is a Tristan Costas I know. He's just out of control. He used to warm up and he would, in the outfield, you know how everybody runs straight, he would round the bases like he was hitting a double. And it was, little things like that would just make you laugh. He paints his nails. He lays in the outfield grass with his shirt off. He is a thing of beauty. And we definitely need to get him on this show so he could explain to you more. He is, and he can hit, and he can mash. So he just, he needs to get healthy. He needs to get going. Like, just play. Stop worrying about everything else and just let your bat do the talking.
Yeah, he's one of one.
What was he doing in that? Was he standing there taking ball? I don't understand even what that video was. Like, he's just the guy's throwing balls at him because he wasn't moving. It wasn't like, he's just. I know they're softer balls, but like, what is he? I just don't understand what he's even doing.
Well,
I thought he was going to do the Happy Gilmore where he faces the pitching machine and he just takes hits against his chest.
I don't know. I don't know what that was for.
Todd, do you have his number?
I do.
Okay, you might have to text him and ask him what that exercise was. Be like, hey, I'm coaching the kids. I just want to know if that's something I should be doing with the kiddos. I freaking love it because no one else is doing what he's doing. Like, he does something at the ballpark most days that nobody else is doing. It's not always something on the field, but still, he is a content king and he might not even know it. So I'm a fan. All right, let's get to our BetMGM game of the day, and it's a whole weekend slate. So if you want some free baseball to watch, if you deal with all the annoying MLB blackouts, then live streaming is available to all BetMGM customers who are logged in and have funded accounts for the free game of the day streaming on the app. And those three games are the following: Nationals Phillies tonight, Friday night, Pirates Cubs on Saturday, and White Sox Yankees on Sunday. And AJ, do you want to give us the quickie Pirates Cubs Paul Skeens update so far through his second start of his career?
Well, remember Eric Kratz said that he got a text from people that, Cubs were all right feeling against him, and that he threw it hard, but it wasn't great. Skeens has struck out the first 6, and he's throwing 100, and he's throwing 98-mile-an-hour splinkers, so it looks like a fun at bat for whoever gets to face him. His second start is gone, and he's been dotting it too. So, I don't know. It was, listen, this dude's good. He's going to be good. And, if you're a Cubs hitter right now, get it ready, boys, because he's coming right after your asses. Yeah,
he's a man on a mission right now. I love it. Yeah. So
he pitched good his first. Remember his first? He punched out the first 6 guys he's faced. So 2 innings.
That's good.
And remember his first outing, he was kind of a little bit all over the place, and it was like, oh man, But listen, I mean, 100 is still 100. So, boy. I mean, and then you got Kyle Hendricks who's pitching against him and is throwing at like 83, and then you have 103. So,
also the first start's a mirage on command. A lot of the time, it's Nerve City. I mean, it's the easy examples. Yamamoto in Korea for his first game pitching in the majors, and I'd seen plenty of video, and you're like, this dude's missing spots left and right. That's not the case. It's not like he suddenly got the yips for life. It's first start. It happens all the time. So it happened for Skeens too. He's going to locate better. All right, our locks did not hit yesterday. Besides our clubhouse leader, AJ Pierzynski has gotten back to level. He is back. He did double or nothing on his Rays Red Sox over, and he celebrated last night with a celebratory text.
Back, baby.
You got fireworks. You got those Disney fireworks.
Back. I'm back.
See, that actually is a good story. The beauty of betting. You're 6-22.
0.
But AJ went for it, and he's back to 0. So he gets to start
now
fresh.
I got a lot of work to do, though, to make that record look better.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. So let's get to Jonathan Papelbon, a.k.a. Papnosticator's lock first.
What's up, my people of Foul Territory Nation? It's your boy, the Papnosticator. Yeah, man, I didn't hit my last one, but it's all good. We still up a little bit of money. We ain't trying to risk it all like AJ and live by the sword. We got to play this a little bit more strategically. But today, in fact, I think I'm gonna have to pick my boy Frazier's old team in the Yankees. As much as I hate to do it, but man, they are rolling. So I'm gonna take them in the money line, and I'm gonna take Kansas City in over 3.5 runs and the money line. We're gonna mix them all together, and we're gonna do a pack parlay on that. So that's a 3-game parlay. We're going to bet $100, and we're going to get that cheese, and we're going to keep making that cheese the rest of the year. So just hang with me. We don't need no volatility like AJ, man. That guy's off his rocker. So, yes, we are pulling for the Yankees today. Frazier, get your boys to come through for me.
By the way, I just want to mention, just in life, when Pap says something, it is accurate. Just want to throw that out there. Blanket statement for everyone to understand. Pap is a man of his word. And take that for what it is. So, and I'm serious. Thank you, Pap. Good pick. Frazier, you want to follow that since he was looking at you?
Yeah, I'm not going with the Yankees. I do believe they'll win, but I'm going to ride the wave. I've always ride the wave when teams are hot. I'm going to ride it until they don't. Houston money line. I know they're playing the Brewers. Should be a good game. They're at home. They're riding a good little win streak here at -110, 330 to win 300.
Very nice.
I like it. I thought he was going to say. I thought he was going to say the Rockies since they've won all those games in a row. I was like, riding the hot team.
I'm afraid.
It's only a matter of time. Rockies will level back, just like AJ did. So you're back to O. How are you gonna go in plus money? Would this be your first time plus money this year?
No, I think I won.
Or did you start out okay?
I think I won maybe the first game. I don't know. That's so long ago. So many winning bets ago.
4.
I'm gonna go with Pap. I'm going with Pap's pick since he called me out in the thing, and I'm volatile. I'm gonna take Pap's pick, and I'm gonna go with it now. So I'm gonna just follow Pap. I don't know how much he bet, but if he bet 100 or whatever it was, I'm following him. So I'm gonna be up 143 tomorrow. I'm gonna be 7-22.
Wow, there you go. I will go with the Yankees. I will tell Pap on that pick, but I'm going run line instead of money line. Yankees have been swinging the bats. They're feeling themselves, just not sweeping, dusting the Twins just now, and then heading home to take on a White Sox team that's got Clevenger tonight going up against Cortez. Nestor's been pretty good. I feel like this is the kind of team that he can slice and dice. And for me, I often fade the White Sox if it's a non-Fetty day. I'm not touching Fetty starts. I haven't all year, and I'm definitely not touching him now. He's been the man for them. And I don't really touch Crochet starts either, but no, I'll mess with a Clevenger start and that bullpen. So
you can take Crochet for strikeouts. He works out pretty good.
For strikeouts, yes. Also, little change there. That's -125 for the run line for the Yanks. I ain't playing that.
Changes a lot.
It's -125 for the Yanks run line at minus. We'll let you know it's the Grand Slam jackpot promotion. So if you're into home run props and you're betting somewhere else, then I don't understand what you're doing, because it's a weekly promotion where you place $10 or more on any player to hit a home run on a weekend day, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And if that player hits a Grand Slam, that you can win a $50,000 daily prize or a share of the prize with every other winning bettor. For example, if you think that Judge is going to homer tonight and he ends up hitting a Grand Slam, boom, you're part of that 50K pot in bonus bets. So go get after it, and let's get our home run picks going. I'll go first. I'll go Dalton Varsho. He's at +6 at pretty well the last few weeks. Tyler Alexander has allowed the 4th most home runs in the league, and everyone ahead of him has done it in fewer innings. So the home run rate's very high. Doesn't dominate against lefties. I think Varsho could go get him, and maybe a few Blue Jays get on base for him. So give a little Grand Slam shot. AJ, who do you have?
I'm going with Ohtani at home against Frankie Montas. Frankie Montas going to hang in one of them splits. Ohtani's seen a lot of splits, and he's gonna go probably center to left center off of him. And someone for the Dodgers at the bottom of the order, we already talked about it, gets on base, he could hit a Grand Slam.
I'm going with Pete Alonso, the polar bear. Saw him hit in BP check swing homers 1 round in Miami. And I'm just going just because he did that. It was the most craziest thing I've ever seen. So I'm going to go Pete Alonso, +450.
Nice. +450 for Polar Pete. How the hell do you hit a home run on a check swing?
He would go boom and stop, and it went like 380. I've never seen anything like it in my life.
They showed him doing that yesterday before the game. They showed him at
Did
BP
they?
yesterday, and
It's unbelievable.
He stops like right here. He doesn't finish, and the ball was going out of the park.
Unbelievable.
Is that a drill? Like, why is he, or is he just showing that nobody else can do what he does?
I think he's just trying to be under control in his swing and making sure his hands are in the right spot to swing, I guess so.
That's wild. All right. Good luck to everyone on their bets tonight. It is incredible. Let's slap. Birthday shout out. This is my favorite nickname in Major League history. Cool Papa Bell.
Nice.
Do we know what he would have turned today? I love when I ask questions that we don't have answers to, but it's been a minute. He played in the, earlier. Yeah, probably in the hundo range. Yeah. He played in the 1930s. So, have you ever heard Bob Kendrick tell one of his stories about Negro League players? You know Bob Kendrick? He runs the Hall of Fame Museum there in Kansas City. He's one of the better speakers I've ever met, like storytellers. He's the inflection points. He's got everything down pat. But yeah, this is one of his lines because I see we put it on here. Among many legendary accounts, Cool Papa Bell once stole 175 bases in a 200-game season and was able to round the bases in 12 seconds flat. Even the fastest man in the world in the 1930s, Jesse Owens, refused to race. Cool Papa Bell.
It was like Chuck Norris back in the day, man.
Right. Chuck Norris for speed.
Yeah. Boogeyman checks under his bed for Chuck Norris. That's awesome.
I love it. Merch is available on foulterritoryshop.com. Oh, I got the shirt on today, actually. There it is. And on our TikTok shop, there's FT Pucks, which are selling hot, and they're limited edition for now. So if you want to go check those out, go use our promo code for Teza Energy, those energy pouches. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, to our podcast pages, all that stuff. Mugs and trucker hats are the new items on the shop. And Monday, it's Cameron Maben with Eric Kratz. Paul Sewald will join us as well. AJ, good luck. You're going somewhere in Florida for a little playoff action, right?
Fort Myers for the Final Four, playing Monday at 1 o'clock. So good luck to the First Academy.
Good luck. Go get him. Todd Father. We'll see you later next week.
You got it.
Bye.